Hey guys, welcome to our podcast, Love Unveiled.
My name is Trey.
My name is Chané, and this is episode 5.
5. We are so glad to get this episode to you guys. I know it's been a little bit of a wait, but it's well worth the wait. We're going to be having some fun on today's discussion.
Some juicy stuff.
Yeah, so as you guys requested, the second most voted on topic was the taboo, the S word.
Sex.
Yeah, so that is the topic for today's podcast, and we're really excited. A little bit nervous to talk about this, but let's get to it. Let's get to it.
All right, so we're going to start with a quick story. A date, and this date, again, this woman, man met online. So they go out, they hit it off, and they actually date for quite some time.
Okay.
Things start to get a little bit more serious. They're talking about some serious topics here. The female made very clear, I am choosing to be abstinent or celibate until marriage. The guy was okay with that. But anyways, at some point in conversation, it comes out that he used to be a player back in the day. He was also a professional football player at some point. So the lady then says, okay, well, when we do get to that point, if we ever get to that point of having sex, how do you feel about getting checked, getting an STD test? Because she didn't feel comfortable knowing all of that to proceed without making sure that he didn't have anything. So he pretty much said that he's never been tested before. Nobody has ever required that of him. So that was odd for him. And then he goes on to say, well, tell you what, I will get tested, but you pay for it.
Okay, I see. Okay.
So that was pretty upsetting for that person, and ultimately it didn't work out. But yeah, so thoughts on that? Should you cover your own expense for the well-being of your own body, or should that be on the person asking you?
Yeah, this is a good tie-in to last episode where we were saying, is the expectation of men pay for the date? Should he pay for the test? Yes, absolutely. You should pay for your own test. Come on now.
Yeah, you absolutely should pay for your own, and you should, if you're out there like that, you should be getting tested frequently, not just because one random female asked you.
And willingly. I mean, how could you possibly be offended by someone requesting, hey, we want to make sure it's safe before we proceed with anything.
Right.
I need you to get checked. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah.
Especially, you mentioned that they were talking about getting serious, maybe a proposal or an engagement. You need to know the person's past before. I mean, she had a little bit of insight into it, but giving all that information, now she wants to make sure that it's a safe thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Because that's gross.
Especially a pro athlete, he had access to
which he admitted to.
Yeah, to a lot of women.
Yeah.
So, who knows where they've been?
Put it on the women.
No. Who knows where he's been? So, so absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, I agree.
That's crazy.
Glad we're on the same page with that. But all right, so let's get into it.
Let's get into the topic.
This is some juicy stuff. I love talking about this.
I'm a little bit more reserved, but
yeah,
you guys requested it, so we're gonna talk about it. First question, I'll present it.
Right.
How often should a married couple have sex?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Okay.
Every morning, midday, every night.
Oh, wow. 3 times.
Hey.
That's crazy. Can you guys do that?
We out here. Can you guys do that?
I think the goal should be every day for sure. Obviously, people have lives. not beyond not beyond your spouse, but you know what I'm saying? You got responsibilities and things. It may not happen every single day. You know what I mean? But that needs to be communicated, I feel. Like, let's communicate it. Don't just assume one person doesn't need it or doesn't want it, because I could probably sense some sort of resentment building up if you're just withholding and your spouse has no idea as to why they might start feeling like there's someone else, like, or
right,
you know,
yeah,
so
insecure.
definitely some insecurities. Yeah. But I think the goal should be everything. Now, if you actually meet that goal, that's another thing. But
well, I hear most married couples don't, which is why there's a challenge. There's like a 100-day challenge. See if you can actually do it every day for 100 days.
You saw this on social media?
Yeah.
We should try that.
Yeah, it was on social media.
We should try that.
Hey.
I'll
never back down from a challenge.
Worst experience. I can't even think of one right now.
Now, worst experience.
While having sex or gearing up to have sex? I don't know. Think long and hard.
Worst experience. I don't really think I've had I don't think I've had like a bad. I don't think I've had like nothing that stood out anyways where I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Let me go run and tell my friends about this.
Oh no.
I've never had an experience like that.
What about a stressful, like, have you ever had sex in a place where, like, you know you shouldn't be having sex, or maybe somebody's within earshot?
Yes.
And you're stressed out, like, what if they walk in, what if they come?
Yes.
Yeah, I've had situations like that.
Yeah, that's just awkward.
That is super awkward.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's like a bad experience or like the worst, but it's awkward for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I've been on the other end of that, though, where I hear.
Oh, man, that is the worst.
Yeah, I've been in so many situations. I don't know why people put me in situations like that, but I've been in situations where there's literally just like a sheet dividing us.
Oh, boy.
I've been in a situation where I'm literally laying on the floor next to my best friend. Not my best friend anymore, best friend at the time, and something was happening, and yes, I cock blocked. I stopped that.
Yeah, why would you even think that was appropriate? Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've been put in several uncomfortable situations like that.
Remember the time in Vegas?
Oh my gosh, guys. Tell that story. Well, I guess it's really kind of my story. Yeah. Should I tell it?
Yeah. Why not?
It's so disturbing, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so I was pregnant with our third baby, and my mom and Trey went to go gamble. I was supposed to go with them, but morning sickness kicked in at night, and it was just awful.
Now, as a disclaimer, I only chose $20 to spend, and if I lost it, I lost it. I'm not a huge gambler, but anyway, continue.
Yeah. So, I stayed back in the room. I was nauseous. All the Vegas smells was just getting to me. Felt super uncomfortable. My migraine. I had migraines really badly with pregnancies. Mm-hmm. It was just through the roof. But anyways, so mind you, this we were there like right after the shooting, that mass shooting.
That's true.
And we were literally staying in the Mandalay Bay. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Where it happened. So
yeah, it was just
like we could look out our window and see the window where it happened taped off.
Yeah, so it was very eerie.
Yeah, I already felt like super like sketched out. I'm by myself, pregnant in the room. So I'm laying there, and all of a sudden I hear like, Charlie.
Okay, Charlie.
And I immediately, it was yelling. So I immediately, like, my eyes pop open. Mind you, I could not fall asleep, and I had finally fallen asleep. So I was so irritated that I was woken up by this sound.
Yeah. It was like a shriek.
Yeah, and so my eyes pop open, and I'm like, I look at the light from the hallway coming from the door, and I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody's out there attacking this lady. And she just kept repeating his name. So I'm like, she's calling for her husband, this poor lady. Like, what do I do? Do I go open the door? Do I try to help? And then I'm like, no, I can't do that, because what help would I be? What would I do? So I'm like, let me just sit here quietly. And then all of a sudden I hear banging on the wall, and I'm like, oh gosh.
This is awkward. Yeah.
They're having sex.
Yeah.
And I could tell when they were, like, where they were, at what points they were, because
so they're just across the room.
When they were in their bathroom, it was echoing.
Yeah.
And then when they were in the bed, they were banging up against the wall.
Man.
It was just all night. And when I say all night, I'm telling you, this was probably from, like, started at 8 p.m. all the way through 5 in the morning. When my mom and Trey got back to the hotel room later that night, I told them about it. They heard it at 5 in the morning. We all woke up, and at 5 in the morning, they were like, what is that? And I'm like, that's them. They're going at it. That's them.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a long story, and I forgot the purpose of that.
So that was the worst experience, sex experience that we've witnessed, but we had nothing to do with.
Yeah, she was clearly, like, probably a prostitute, but...
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. But anyways, I would definitely say that was the worst Vegas experience, because I could not sleep, and I had morning sickness. It was just horrible.
No, that wasn't my worst Vegas experience. My worst Vegas experience is when they left me on the strip with a ruptured Achilles tendon. I had literally just got surgery, if I'm not mistaken. So I was in recovery, and I had crutches, if I'm not mistaken. No crutches. I was off the crutches. I was bearing weight at this point,
right?
But I had a boot on.
So and he was extra slow, y'all, in this Vegas heat.
Walking extremely slow. I got separated from the group. And I couldn't do anything about it. That was the fastest it was like the little engine that couldn't. It was so bad. It was so bad.
But he did it.
Yeah, so.
This was the same Vegas trip, by the way.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so I guess it was my worst Vegas trip.
Yeah, it was the same trip.
Yeah.
That's funny. But I took care of him, though, when he couldn't do anything. So let's put that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. The craziest thing that has crossed your mind while having sex.
Yeah, during
sex. During sex, like, did I pay that bill? I have no idea.
Craziest thing.
Like, is it normal to have thoughts that are unrelated to sex during sex? Like, what do you think about that?
It depends. Ooh, that depends.
Okay.
Like,
on what?
The thoughts.
Okay.
Like, if you're starting to think about, like, if we're having sex and you're starting to think about, like, work or, like, a TV show or anything that's not my body in your mind,
right,
then I just feel like I'm not doing my job. Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Things have crossed my mind, but, usually.
Like what?
Usually, I'm focused on the task at hand.
I don't think anything's really crossed my mind that's, like, crazy. Maybe like a thought like, oh gosh, I hope I don't fart. But that's crazy. That's pretty crazy. But, well, it'd be crazy if it happened.
That would be wild.
That'd be gross. But, no, I think my mind is always, like, my mind goes, like, very, like...
linear.
Freaky. Like,
oh, okay.
I start thinking of, like, do this, do that.
All right,
like, I'm very present in the moment.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And it's always good to be present in any moment that you're currently in. Especially an intimate setting with your wife, with your husband.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so, boundaries?
Obviously, everybody's an individual. Everybody has boundaries.
Are you a dom? Or are you a sub?
Are you a bottom or a top? No, I was kidding. So, yeah, everybody has their boundaries. But, like, how do you communicate those boundaries? Is it, like, during sex? Like, if it's... Because I feel like if you wait to communicate it during sex, you might tend to cross those boundaries.
I think it depends on experience, to be honest, because I feel like if you...
Experience with that specific person.
Just experience in general.
Okay.
Because if if you lack experience, I don't think you would fully know like what you're comfortable with and what you're uncomfortable with.
Oh yeah. Makes sense.
So then maybe like while having sex is when you may realize like when something is done, like, oh, don't do that again.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
I didn't like that. That made me feel weird. But there's other things like, no anal.
Oh, man.
That's something that's like,
we're going in there, guys. We're going.
That's addressed way before. Like, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, things like that. Like, if you know what you want and what you don't want, definitely express it before.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait for it to happen.
Right. Now, what if you are more reserved, kind of like me, but you want to make your partner pleased? You want to make your partner pleased. Like, do you open up, try to do different things?
Are you asking me?
Well, you know, just hypothetically. I'm not talking about us specifically.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right. But
what would you think?
I think if you're more reserved
or lack experience.
If you're more reserved or lack experience, then I think it's just you probably let the other person lead a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And just follow their lead.
Right? Totally makes sense.
I think so.
Now, I've heard people say watching porn is a way to learn things. Do you agree with that statement? Is it helpful or is it harmful?
I absolutely agree with that statement because you see some crazy things. But do I agree with watching porn? No. Do I think people think watching it can be like a turn on and like sexually arouse you and get you going and in the mood? Yes. I also think people enjoy watching it with their partner, but I personally don't. I don't agree with watching it. But yeah, I believe that people watch it to learn from it.
I think it's a very intimate thing that they're putting publicly, and it just seems like inappropriate. You know what I mean? Like, do what you do. Like, ain't none of my business. But for everybody broadcast, see.
What did young Trey think?
Young Trey?
Young Trinity.
Oh no! She put out the old rap name. Yeah, you know. What do you mean? What is your question?
You're talking with so much wisdom.
No, it's just my reality at this moment. I feel as though having experience with viewing porn, you get this sense of you're hiding something. You get a sense of shame
because it's wrong.
You get the sense of shame. Like you don't want anyone to see you doing it, so that should tell you.
What if?
That should tell you that something's not quite right with you being a third party viewing this moment with two consenting adults.
Right.
A little bit strange.
Yeah.
But you were saying, what if?
What if you don't agree with that, and then you catch your spouse watching
pornography?
Yeah.
I do believe pornography would be harmful to a couple, a couple in a committed relationship, especially a marriage, because it's almost like you're breaking the trust.
I feel like for me, if I were to watch that, it would like build up insecurities. Like, is my body not enough?
Or if you saw the other person viewing it. Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like, why did you have to go looking for it when it's right here?
That totally makes sense. This is good. You guys kind of get a perspective of, how a woman would react, or at least my wife, how she would feel about it.
And I generally speak a lot. No, me, if I caught that, vote, you get whooped.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what do you guys think? Is conversation during sex appropriate or not? Like, is it a turn on? Is it awkward? Like, just stick to what we're doing. Like, stick to the script. What do you think?
I don't think it's awkward. But again, what are you talking about? You know, if it's like,
Hey, did you take out the trash?
if it's like, it's like the whisper song, you know.
Wow. Wow.
No, I think it could be a turn on, but it could be a turn off. Sorry, it could be a turn off if your breast stank.
Yeah. Whispering this. Whispering sweet nothings. Hey.
That's horrible.
That's hilarious. Hey, I try to brush my teeth before. As a disclaimer, I try to brush my teeth. But what if it's that morning session where you ain't even got out of the bed?
We gonna be real quiet. We gonna be real quiet. My nose, y'all, pregnancy made my nose so sensitive to smell. So no. That's for any, I don't know about men, how sensitive they are with stuff like that, but I speak for all females here.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like a no.
Yeah, that's
Close
a
that
no.
mouth. That's a no. We done.
Woo! Oh, that's funny.
But no, I think conversation or even like demands are good.
Demands.
Or commands, yeah.
Oh, commands. Like what?
Wouldn't y'all like to know?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Like, so what I'm hearing from Chané is like, stay in the moment, be present in the moment, don't get off task. Like,
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I also think that falls back with boundaries, though. Like, I think kind of having that line of communication open and feeling comfortable to talk to your person about sex. And then also expressing what you like, what you don't like, and then what you expect. Like, what are your expectations?
Things that you like. I'm such a reserved person, so.
Ooh, toys. Toys. Is that appropriate? I feel like toys. This is me. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like if a female suggests using a toy to help, I feel like that's like a shot to a man's ego. I feel like men feel like offended almost. Like,
I can't speak for all men.
You need a little thing to help? A battery operated device?
You know, I can't really speak on it. I'm not sure. I can't speak on it for all men. I'm just a reserved person as it is. So it's like foreign object. Like, this is a little bit different, you know, than what I'm used to. But I'm not sure. Good. I think some people enjoy it, though. Some guys enjoy, like, pressing the button. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I for the longest time, I actually thought that like wasn't appropriate. Like, I didn't think, like, you know, sex shops or whatever, I didn't think that stuff was appropriate. Lingerie, that's a whole nother thing. But, like, objects, like vibrators, you know, toys. Yeah, I always thought that was, like, just not something
that you would.
That Christians, I guess I'll specify, that Christians would do. And then I was in a women's Bible study at church. And let me tell you, I gravitate usually to, like, the older women.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've always been that way.
Well, they got a lot of wisdom offers.
A lot of wisdom, experience. So it was a lot of older women. And a lot of women that ended up, like, mentoring me through a lot of things. But, yeah, they just, like, I don't know. We were talking about sex for one of the topics, and they just brought it up, and I was like, wait, hold on, that's allowed? Wait, we can do that?
Yeah.
So ever since finding that out, I'm like, ooh,
let's try some.
Yeah, it's opened up a can of worms. I'm like,
wow.
Ooh, what can we try?
Right. Okay.
But yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So this always crossed my mind. Like, it starts with this object, that object. When does it become like a full-fledged robot? Like, that's the direction that things are going.
For sex?
Yeah. Like, they have different devices available. Machinery.
I don't think
robots.
I don't think anybody, unless they're single, will want like just a full-blown robot.
I don't know.
If you're single,
they're gonna have little silicone curves.
Don't they already have those?
I have no idea.
Yeah, they got stuff like that.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they're gonna have full-blown like animated.
Don't they already have that? No.
I don't know. That's the direction it's going though.
Well,
that's wild to
each
me.
their own. Shoot.
That's wild. I don't know.
I won't ever do that.
That's wild.
I like skin to skin. I don't need a robot.
Yeah, that's so wild. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, no. When is it appropriate to talk about birds and bees
with your children?
With your children.
Yeah. So our oldest, just turned 11. And he's going to be going into middle school. I feel like I need to beat him to the punch. I feel like stuff like that is going to come up around his peers. I want to be able to offer my son an educated, technical, scientific, Christian-based presentation, so that his worldview would still, we want to make sure that we cover everything, even as as Christians, we want to make sure we can cover everything. Because if you're not teaching your kids, someone else is going to, and they may not do it the way you want to do it. So
that, and then also, you want them to be able to feel comfortable enough to go to you with the questions they have, versus hearing it from somebody else first, and then they're getting all of the questions answered from this person, and we have no idea what they're saying, what their beliefs are, what they agree with, what they don't. So yeah, we definitely want to reach your kids before anybody else does with serious topics.
Right. That's a very good point that you made about your children coming to you, feeling comfortable enough to come to you with questions, because they're going to have questions. They're young, they're inquiring about a lot of stuff, and I must admit, sometimes when my kids have questions, oftentimes I spend that moment and I break it down to them. Sometimes I just don't feel like answering the question. I'm like, hey, I can't answer questions right now. But you really want your kids to feel comfortable coming to you, asking questions about everything in life, including the birds and the bees. And so this summer, we've already had some conversations, some analogies that we've used in the past when they were younger to talk about the birds and the bees, which is an analogy. Talk about sex.
I think I did. I used like the fish and the egg.
Yeah, fishies and But now I want to give my son a more technical, scientific, faith-based direction about sex, because it's so necessary.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because he's also going to middle school, like Trey already mentioned, but it's his first time in public school.
Mm-hmm.
Because I homeschooled all the way up until middle school. So.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other topics that came to mind before we turn off the camera?
I don't think so, but I feel like if there's something we didn't touch on that you guys want us to, or have any questions, then feel free to put them in the comments, and we can definitely touch on it or answer questions in the following video.
For sure. All right, guys, that was Love Unveiled episode 5. I hope you guys had a good time. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was
Please
fun.
leave us a comment. This was a very interesting topic, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that you guys still want to talk about. We didn't really scratch the surface. So if you have anything that you want us to address in our next video or in the comments, leave us a comment below, and we will get back to you. All right, guys. Peace.
Bye.